Lagos is walking. Lagos is evolving. Lagos is transforming. A greater Lagos is emerging and manifesting. On the City of Lagos TV show, we capture the sights and sounds, the thrills and thrills, to tell the success story about our great city, Lagos. Welcome to the show. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is one governor that has exhibited dexterity, sense of purpose, and effective time management, considering the numerous official engagements of his office as a governor, with one set objective: to deliver quality leadership and good governance to the people of Lagos State. So, what was his itinerary like in recent times? Let's share them with you on From the Governor's Office on the City of Lagos TV show on TV Nigeria. You're welcome. So first, let's start with some series of courtesy visit to the governor. First, the courtesy visit by the European Union representative to the Sahel region and the European ambassador to Nigeria to the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, recently was indeed a great opportunity for both parties to express and share their short and long-term futuristic goals and expectations in terms of bilateral relations, considering the strategic value, importance, and relevance of the EU and Lagos State. They both spoke with high level of confidence to work together.
We met recently in Brussels, where we have mutual friends with whom we share the will to make this particular state of Lagos, but also Nigeria, of course, as an important country in the continent of Africa and in the world, to become even more visible to Europe in particular. Of course, I want to say that our ambassador, Samuele Isopi, ambassador of the European Union to Nigeria, is the example of a person that, as much as me, believes very much in Africa, believes in Nigeria. She has been promoting European Union projects. We, as European Union, we are very close to you. And of course, in my position, you know that I was Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of Italy, and now I am a politician in the European Union. I think that together with people, fantastic people like Samuela, we can do a lot together. And this is why I'm here, and I'm very grateful for this visit. And I think that it's the moment to decide really the future, and especially a future in common. Okay. So thank you very much, European Union and Nigeria and the Lagos State together.
A success in Lagos is a Nigerian success, and a Nigerian success is an African success. If you look, at global, conversations now, I mean, there's been a lot of disruptions. There's been a lot of changes here and there. But we see that Africa, has the chance, of the moment now, after, what has happened in China, what the great things that is happening in India, with the very young, able youth population that we have in Africa, we can indeed, write a better story of ourselves, and we have the opportunity to just be part of, a larger world, conversation. And the reason, we say this is not because we want to be kept specially or want to be treated specially. No, because we want to be seen, as partners in progress. We want to identify real partners, that understand, that appreciate that, there are challenges, but out of the challenges, there are huge opportunities that we all can both look at and solve. It's a global village now. It's a global world in which, solutions, in one part can be used, or can be learned, as solutions in other parts. Samuela has been here now for a couple of years. She's been carrying the flag of EU very, very well. She's extremely very passionate about the job, about the assignment. And each time she comes to Lagos with all of the other European countries, she makes a strong statement, that resonates, very, very, very well, with us. And we see, I mean, me coming out from Brussels, which is the headquarters of EU, I could take that and I can see that, and I know that, we in Lagos can use ourselves, as a clear demonstration of an example of what can possible, of all of the possibilities that we can birth in Africa. The set of people that I met before you, they were from UNDP, and all of the things they're doing, they're starting with Lagos because they've seen that it's not just, a forward-looking government, it's also a place where they can identify, smart, innovative, intelligent, citizens that we all need to support, and help them to become better people, in future. And so those kind of collaborations are the kind of things, that we see. I know with the EU, there's still a lot of diplomacy issues. There's still a lot of concerns about world peace, and the rest of it. But you can be rest assured that we, as a subnational, will make this environment conducive for its citizens, for our visitors. We'll make it conducive for businesses. We'll make it conducive for the world to come in here and trade.
The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, recently received in audience the Executive Secretary, CEO of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council, NNPC, Aisha Rimi, and her team on a courtesy visit to the office of Mr. Governor. For the NNPC CEO, who stated the major mandate and mission of the agency, described Lagos as a strategic and potential driver of foreign investments, thereby calling for a symbiotic partnership and synergy between the agency and the Lagos State government.
Because we can't talk about investment in Nigeria or into Nigeria without looking at Lagos or without talking to Lagos. Lagos is really a microcosm of Nigeria. Everything that Nigeria has, represents, and is and will be and can be is in Lagos. You can find everything here. So with its, and I'm not sure what the numbers are today, because I think I read somewhere that there's at least 10,000 people that come into Lagos daily, so I know that, and they don't leave. So the numbers keep changing, but with the 20 plus million, I think we'll leave it at that, population of Lagos, I think Lagos has a demographic dividend that must be tapped into. And how do we do that? It's by promoting, encouraging, facilitating, and assisting investors, those that are here, those that are coming in. And that's what the NNPC is set up to do. The NNPC is the investment promotion agency of the country. We are cited in Abuja, but the truth is that whatever we do, we have to talk to the states. The states are the ones that are the recipients of these investors and investment opportunities. So we have embarked on a nationwide tour. We started with the Northwest. We were in the Northwest last week and we're in the Southwest this week. And the whole idea is to talk to the investors, to the state government, to the state investment promotion agencies where they exist. And in the case of Lagos, I think it's the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. And thankfully, my sister Folashade and I have had a great working relationship since, like I said, since I assumed office. She's actually been to visit and we've exchanged communication, information and documentation on how we can continue to collaborate. But I think it was very important for us to be here today. So some of the departments or units or programs that we have under the NNPC. One is the One-Stop Investment Center, which I think is very critical. And under that, we have 17 different government agencies housed under one roof, so to speak, but they're actually on 2 floors. And we found that investors find it easier to be able to walk in and go from desk to desk and pursue whatever applications, licenses, permits that they require. And on the back of that, we also set up so One-Stop Investment Center is OSIC for short, and then we set up the OSIC Lab. And OSIC Lab was set up to assist these investors where they have challenges, because we know the environment in which we operate, and these come up from time to time. So we have the OSIC Lab, which is really a dispute resolution center or or problem-solving department. And what we've tried to do with the state investment promotion agencies is to get them to replicate that, because it can be a bit overwhelming if you don't know the terrain, and even if you know the terrain, but time, efficiency and all of that. So it's very important that we promote that. And I think we've spoken to Ms. Ambrose Medebem about setting up a similar unit or department.
On his part, Mr. Governor, who spoke on the economic value, relevance and critical role of Lagos State in growing and attracting foreign direct investors and investments to the city, acknowledged inherent challenges, promising full support and collaboration with the NNPC to achieve its set objectives.
For us, and like you've observed, Lagos comes with a whole lot of opportunity. It has some burden challenges, but it's clear that it's a jewel. It's the economic, commercial nerve center, that carries, the heavy burden of being willing and ready to shoulder investment opportunity and whatever challenge it comes with it in this country. And Lagos has, decade in, decade out, live up to those expectations. If you check the numbers of foreign direct investment, Lagos typically last 5 years, takes more than half, of those numbers straight up, and it's been sort of like embellished in a DNA to be able to soak in new businesses, new opportunity, and just, give it a driving true force. It was just a week ago that we also had our corporate assembly. It was because while we're looking for new investors, we also don't want the existing ones to have a need or a reason, to pack, So that assembly is an opportunity for them to challenge us, to speak with me directly and the ministries and departments, and to be able to tell us what their issues are. How can we make the environment even a lot simpler for them? Where are the bottlenecks? What can we do to help? And at that meeting, a lot of the federal agencies were also in attendance, where they could answer questions and give clarity on what the issues and what the points to note are, which in my view, that's the way to go. The fact that you can empathize with them and handhold them also help them to, calm down and be able to move forward. But more importantly, too, there are also their challenges with us as existing businesses, part of our own permit, approvals, and waivers that they require. So that ministry can indeed help. And in places where they believe that we're doing multiple taxation or we're just putting a lot of pressure on them, we will be able to remove them and solve them. But to speak with your office directly, which is now investment promotion, which will be new investments coming in, foreign direct investments, and all of it, where we're believing that the country still has a lot of potential. It has a lot of potentials on the market side, in the demography side, in the intellectual, and human capital capacity side. I usually say to anywhere we go to that, bring anything, into our country, you can be rest assured that you have right skills that can pick it up and deal with it. So that, in my view, should be one of our selling points. We have a huge market, that we can take on anything, almost everything. We have a very informed, well-educated, young, vibrant, population that can provide the needed skills, and what we need to just be able to tie up are some of our infrastructure, around power and some other things that we just need to be able to make good with, So I want to say that, yes, you found a partner with us in Lagos State. Anything that is investment, we view it as additional, widening the jaw where, we can take them on.
And still from the governor's office on the City of Lagos TV show, to further deepen the financial, political and economic relationship with Lagos State as the financial capital of Nigeria. The High Commissioner of India to Nigeria, Bala Subramanian, and his team recently paid a courtesy visit to the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The Indian ambassador, who reiterated the strategic value and importance of Lagos as a strong economic pillar in the Nigeria-India bilateral relationship, updated Mr. Governor on the robust capacity building program offered to interns from the Latif Jakonde Leadership Institute sent to India for training.
Lagos is the financial capital of the country, and so is Mumbai, the financial capital in India. One of the purposes that I have is also to see if Your Excellency would be interested in some kind of a twin city relationship between Lagos and Mumbai. If that is so, we can certainly work on that also, which would help in fostering better relationship between the two countries, given the historical relationship that we have. Excellency, we recently played host to Latif Jakonde Leadership Academy interns in India. They just, I think, returned earlier this week, and we had a wonderful program that was developed for them, and we had exposed them to many of the events on the digital side, the digital economy, youth empowerment, and democracy, culture, so on and so forth. I hope you are satisfied with the program that has been made for them. And I can assure you, Excellency, that we would continue to cooperate and collaborate with the Lagosian government and with this academy to see how further we can take it more. Excellency, capacity building has been one of the stronger points between India and Nigeria. As I told you, we had teachers and doctors here. Subsequently, in the beginning, the War College, Naval War College in Port Harcourt and the Defense Academy in Kaduna, both of them have been formed with collaboration with India. And we provide, from 1979 onwards, we have been working closely in providing scholarship for short-term scholarship. About 500 scholarships are issued, 250 on the civilian side and about 150 on the military side. Many of our friends from Nigeria have benefited out of it. We have more than 250 such courses which are offered on an annual basis. So we would be happy to see part of Lagos also. I think there's a specialized program that has now been sought from Lagosian state government. The Ministry of Budget and National Planning is the nodal ministry. We are working through them. We will be happy to look at the possibility of that particular thing. Excellency, I have heard a lot about your themes project as well as the Lagosian State Corporate Assembly, which is the ease of doing business, which is a very innovative way in which you are interacting so closely with the businesses and all the stakeholders to see how the ease of doing business is done, which is certainly something that we can also learn from you. India, Excellency, has progressed quite well in the sense that we are now the 5th largest economy in the world and growing fast.
While recognizing the tremendous benefits for decades of mutually benefiting relationship with India, Mr. Governor attested to the fact that India has the expertise and intellectual know-how to build the most desired quality leadership skills for the academy interns as expected. He also pledged to sustain the relationship with India.
We know that indeed in the last 10, 15 years, India had actually taken a very, frontal role in global, space, in the economy, in technology, in finance, especially in all spheres of those endeavors. And you truly, really, shaped, the world conversation. So I think it's important that we acknowledge, the amount of intellect and intellectual and well-being that Indians have actually need to give to the world. And so we are truly honored and happy that Nigeria continues to benefit, from your wealth of experience. And we'll continue to create, a mutually beneficial partnership, between the two countries. For our first, intern, our first fellows of the Leadership Academy, we just looked at an economy that has similar issues, similar challenges with us, but they've taken their own issues and they've taken it forward and they're beginning to make, good sense of it. So we saw that clearly, in India, and I said to them, that's where you have to go to. That's the only place where you feel it, you see it, but you also learn, greatly from it. And I've heard, from a whole lot of them that it was a trip that was worth every moment of it. And I'm sure there are better, citizens. There are things that they've learned. There are things that they've learned, and things that they've seen, so we'll continue in that trajectory.
The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the United Nations Assistant Secretary General and UNDP Africa Regional Director, Ahuna Eziakoa, both had a very robust and progressive conversation and discussion around partnership and collaboration with respect to development of fintech in Lagos, as well as the issue on the African Continental Free Trade Zone area. The UNDP representative and the governor emphasized on the strategic role of Lagos in these two critical areas.
Very proudly, Lagos is hosting the very first hub of Timbuktu, the FinTech hub. And it's no surprise because I think you have been pronounced as the powerhouse of innovation in this state. So what's really exciting is that since the last 2 days, we've had the arrival of 42 fintech entrepreneurs up and coming who were selected out of nearly 900 founders. So this is the creme de la creme of this thematic from 35 countries on the continent. 6 out of the 42 are from Lagos State. And they have, William advised this evening that they haven't had to do much because the Lagos founders just took over and started to host the rest and make them feel warm and at home.
Yeah.
So that's another character of Lagos I think you should be proud of. We are going to have a boot camp with these 42 for the next 1 week. They will learn a lot about what it takes to rise to prominence in this field. But also beyond that, we will make some investments at UNDP for them to start to scale their businesses, some seed investment. We're hoping this could be matched with some other investments from private sector, from investors. But the FinTech Hub eventually will have a fund, and we're really looking to Lagos State and the governor's office to be the first angel investor to this fund, because there will be many more rounds. As you know, Timbuktu is really sort of bringing the ecosystem together. We're not replicating anything. The ecosystem of fintech is already quite mature in this country. But I can tell you these other Africans from other countries who are coming in are going to be looking to what they can learn from this country on fintech. The thing with fintech is its cross-cutting nature, that you're going to find financial services in practically every sector. And it's really a leader in using technology and innovations to transform the development space. That's why we're very excited about it. A second purpose of our time here is around the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And again, this city is the heart and soul of market, of trade. And it makes sense that we kick off a concept that we started last year, which we call HER AFCFTA. AFCFTA is a groundbreaking agreement of the African Union to create this one Africa market. And we want the women, we want the face of AFCFTA to be a feminine face, because when you go to the marketplace, you find a lot of women, and their business in that marketplace transforms.
Over the past couple of years, we've grown that relationship with UNDP. We've grown it from 1 or 2 people coming to no activity coming to some activity coming to a whole lot of people coming and to a whole lot of activity that we're seeing. So in my view, I think we deserve a round of applause, right? It is a measure of the resource, both in human and in the amount of quality of of service and programs that you've been able to put forward, that I imagine brought this rich relationship that we see, and we want to grow it. City that we also need to take very carefully and nurture it and help it, remain relevant in the years and the decades ahead, because it's in such a, I don't want to use the word fragile, but it's in such a massive position now that we cannot afford to let the city fail, in whatever form, because the amount of people and the amount of belief and resource, at all levels that were put into the city, it has only one thing to do: to just go up, and continue to excel and do for us, what we'll expect it to do. And so I'm not surprised, that Timbuktu is taking off from here. The amount of innovative ideas that we see, kind of things that we see, and the amount of energy that propels the young, dynamic population here. We just need to be able to channel them properly, organize them well, and just leech them up, and let them just flourish. So I'm sure it's going to be exciting times, and we're happy that they've been able to pick, other great ideas from different parts of Africa, and I believe that everybody will have a success story back home, and it will be worth, the pressure or whatever, we're pushing for each one of them. But really is to use engagements like this to also be able to tell the African story.
The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has indeed taken a giant leap to boost public transportation system in Lagos with the signing of a new lag ride partnership with CIG Motor Company in Lagos recently. The high-tech vehicles, which will be powering Lagos with electric mobility, brings on board additional 5,000 brand new vehicles to the lag ride initiative. The Chief Executive Officer of GIC Motors, Diana Chen, in her opening remark, gave a progressive report on the PPP arrangement with the Lagos State Government on the organization's intention to deliver quality vehicles to boost transportation in the city of Lagos.
I'm very excited, and I also feel honored to develop our Rainy Driving Force PPP partnership with Lagos State Government. And today it is another great moment for us to reflect where's our PPP partnership start from. We delivered two major projects during the pandemic. Number one, we set up the full automation assembly line for automobile in Nigeria during this pandemic time. Secondly, we delivered the first lag ride, phase one, 1,000 brand new car. During the 1,000 new car, the ocean freight increased from $3,000 per container to over $10,000 per container. Mr. Governor, I still continue to deliver to you. We, Choice International, CIG Motor, wherever all the entities in Nigeria, we still have the same belief. Wherever we speak, we promise, we deliver. And no matter what kind of cost we need to pay for it, this is our word. We keep our word as our life. So come this stage, we have another new and significant PPP partnership agreement signed today. I emphasize this is agreement. It's not MOU. That means it's really official authority and another highly commitment signed today. With all our team here, even our great partner, Mr. Wang, he comes from China, representing GAC International. They are giving us full support for these projects. And of course, our bank finance, our bank people, right? Your people, this is a huge project. Mr. Tammy, we work together to raise the money from the capital market. So they're all my allies. They're all my allies to make sure this project must deliver in the next 3-5 years. We want to make this project contribute at least 1% GDP for the President Tinubu's mission, 1 trillion. And our calculation also very simple, right? In the next 3 to 5 years, we are targeted to embark over 1 million brand new cars driving on this platform. With that 1 million brand new cars driving in this platform, every trip, think about how much economy we bring in. So the GMV of Next Right project, we are targeting very simple. Within 5 years or 7 years, 1.3 billion USD dollar. That's our target for the team. We talking about this one because we have our very strong sense of commercial and business analysis. That's why we are able to challenge that not the government just contribute 20% seed from. The rest, not our business people, our expertise, our international technology partner to make sure with the delivery of this project, we will help the country to generate the economy. So that's what we want to mention, the meaning for this partnership.
For Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, it did not only express his government satisfaction to GIC for living up to expectation, but was of the view that the signing ceremony is indeed a promise made and kept on his administration's vertical transportation master plan for the state.
When we started a relationship about 4.5 years ago, and we were shopping around for good brands, least costs, efficient, durable vehicles, people didn't know that I pretty much cut her into two, to ensure that we can start the relationship with her. But she saw the future. She saw the benefit of taking a hit. She saw the benefit of ensuring that whatever it takes, that Lagos State and Lagos market is big enough for her to take those early warning days risk. Because she took a whole lot. In the journey of the business relationship, there were times in which, we are always the ones in negative positions. We are always the ones that are owing her, I dare say, billions and billions of naira. But we're able to ensure that what the relationship is not just about sale. It's about building a future. It's about building a relationship that can endure and go beyond just selling of cars. And so what we've done over those periods is that we've created partnership. And so when we said we've created partnership, today, if my numbers are not too far off, she probably will have assembled over 3,000 vehicles in this country as we speak now. So we said that if we're going to be buying, we needed to do some sort of like a backward integration where we also can put in place an assembly line. And we signed that relationship at that time. And today, we're happy that that assembly line, is functioning and is working well here in the heart of Ikeja, and is employing people, is bringing about businesses, and is turning, the drain that we usually have, is turning it into a positive enterprise for us. At that time, we also saw the opportunity that our people cannot also be walking and be moving in rickety cars. This government promised an integrated urban mass transportation system. And when you say something is integrated, you must look at all the verticals that are available in the transportation master plan. So we said we're going to intervene in the rail infrastructure, we're going to intervene in the waterways infrastructure, we're also going to intervene in the road infrastructure. And in the road infrastructure, is to start with first the high-capacity buses, the medium-capacity buses, the last-mile buses, and eventually to go to the taxis, and single-occupier buses. So we're not just getting into this thing. It was a well-thought-out vision, and was something that we had said we're going to do. And we're doing it at every step, at every measure of the way. So you could look at all the verticals. Our trains are working, more are coming. Our waterways are working, more are coming. We're just going to sign a big investment opportunity in the waterways. Our road infrastructure is working. from our BRT buses to our middle capacity buses to our last mile buses, and now to also the lag ride. So it is something that were intentional. It was well thought out. It was not so that people can understand that we're not just doing procurement. It is a transportation solution that we're bringing and we're developing, in which we want to meet all of our citizens' requirements. Not all citizens will want to travel in a 50 capacity bus. Not everybody will want to travel in a 20 capacity medium bus. Not everybody will want to travel in an 8 capacity last mile bus. Some people will just want to be them and their spouse, or them and their child, in a single, taxi service that they want. And so we need to be able to also cater for that. And so you can see that it is well thought out in say that the whole verticals of public transportation we want to be able to play, in it and play very, very well. And so for us in the transportation sector, it was a well-imagined vision that the likes of CAG and CIG Motors are just helping us, to feed into. I think the only vertical, which I'm also was announced here, is that we want to go into air transportation. And for us, that will invariably encircle everything in public transportation that you can imagine, in the world. And so Lagos State is also looking at that, and we're doing extensive study. So when we say that we want to build an airport, we just don't want to build an airport. We want to go into that means of transportation again and be able to do it and do it very, very well.
The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has expressed his displeasure and disappointment as regards the poor environmental state of the city, despite government's effort to keep a cleaner and safer city. Mr. Governor made this position known at the recent symbolic commencement of the weekly and monthly environmental sanitation exercise in Lagos.
Gentlemen and ladies, it's also for us to use this as an enlightenment and an awareness campaign. Given the drive round we have seen today, it's rather very appalling and it's totally unacceptable. The level of environmental nuisance that we have constituted as a people, the level of refuse, uncleanliness, untidiness that we have noticed even driving around this morning. And so we want to use this to start the advocacy and the conversation around how do we not only bring back environmental sanitation, but how do we ensure that we can improve the physical cleanliness on our environment? How do we ensure that as a state and a center of excellence that we pride ourselves as, how do we as citizens take up our individual and collective responsibility at ensuring that we can make a better fiscal use of our environment. Driving around this morning on beautiful roads, we noticed people have removed all of the manholes that have been installed at strategic locations. On built roads, these manholes have been removed, and we've seen refuse being dumped on these drainages, and a whole lot of them have been blocked. This is completely unacceptable, and it's a shame to people that are doing this. They do not deserve to be amongst us. To destroy not only government property, manhole that will preserve and protect your environment from flood, from environmental issues. What could be the commercial benefit that you waste and you destroy such investment? And so the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure are going to be setting up gangs. And if by whatever means you are caught, there are huge consequences to it. But beyond that, it's also for us to use this occasion to announce, and using Lagos Island, two local governments, Lagos Island and Lagos Island East, as a form of advocacy that we will push around the entire state on our plan to ensure that we begin a collective process of ensuring that the cleanliness in our environment is important, is paramount, and it's something that every citizen must be awakened to. And that's why we've said that this must start even from the households, from the schools, from the offices, from the markets. We're tired of needing to be identified as a state that is harboring cholera, that is harboring diseases that are related with unsavory environmental issues. I think it's a disgrace to all of us. And as a government, we will not tolerate, we will not accept it. And so please, the conversation here today is an advocacy conversation, is an enlightenment conversation in which week on week, we will be going out, we'll be demonstrating our willingness to start a weekly exercise that we believe very soon would, on our own as a people, see the need for us to start a monthly environmental cleaning up in all of our environments and in all of our communities.
And moving on from the governor's office segment, it was indeed an exciting and revealing tour guide of the J. Randall Center in Lagos by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu alongside the United States Assistant of Commerce for Global Affairs and other top U.S. officials on a high-powered advisory council set up by the U.S. President Biden to Africa with special interest in Lagos, Nigeria. The U.S. representative spoke on the rationale behind the visit.
Consulate General in Lagos, and here with Governor Sanwo-Olu and an incredible delegation, President Biden's Advisory Council for African Diaspora Engagement, along with the Assistant Secretary of Commerce for International Affairs, visiting Lagos. This is the Council's first trip to the African continent since President Biden created it, and it helps him understand and the U.S. government understand how best to leverage the incredible power of the African diaspora in our relations with the continent and the world. With 750,000 Nigerian Americans constituting the single most successful diaspora group in the United States when it comes to income and education levels, it makes natural sense that Nigeria will be their first stop. And we're so grateful to be here at this incredible museum with the governor to hear about some of the things that the state of Lagos is doing and the government of Nigeria is doing to embrace the diaspora and to highlight the impact of Nigerian culture on Nigeria, Africa, and the world. It's just a wonderful place to be, and we've been so impressed, Governor. Thank you so much.
For Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the visit will surely boost cross-cultural relationship and improve collaboration and partnership with Nigeria Americans in diaspora.
We're really, really so honored and we're so happy that the very high, powerful advisory council that President Biden set up, that this is the first trip to Africa. You know, the board is about Africa, but the first trip is to Nigeria and indeed is to your Lagos. And so we are truly proud that we're hosting them. And but more importantly, we're also excited that even on the council, we have Nigerian American, who are serving on the council. And it's indeed a true honor, for us, to be able to share some of the vision that Mr. President, President of the United States has for the African in diaspora and others. So we believe this will be the beginning of a lot of collaborative issues that will improve relationship, that will see partnerships that will create win-win on both sides. But more importantly, there will be development in creative, industry, in the art, in the film, and everything that has to do with improving social economic value of African in diaspora, and vice versa. So we believe it's well thought out, and we're excited that we're starting this, here in Lagos, and we're hoping that we can take this forward and begin to see the benefit, that will accrue to Nigerians, to our population in diaspora, and to Americans alike, in this big relationship. Thank you very much.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu attendance of the National Youth Service Corps passing out parade and closing ceremony of the 2024 Batch B Stream 1 Corps set will never be forgotten in a hurry by the 4,254 Corps members. The governor, who experienced a superlative parade performance by the core members challenged them to be purposeful leaders and achievers in their various fields of endeavor.
For this beautiful event, to commence the march past, slow and quick time.
The marchers into columns. By the right, right wing, slow march.
Yes, this is the point.
In what came as a surprise package to the core members, the governor generously gifted the 4,254 core members a cash gift of 100,000 naira each.
It brings back memory of the can-do spirit of Nigerians, of the ability, the capacity, and the uniqueness of the Nigerian National Youth Service Corps. And so in these last 3 weeks, you have immersed yourself in what I call a transformative exercise. You have earned to adapt to new environments. Some of you will probably be coming to Lagos for the first time. You've built a network of friends. You've built a new fellow compatriots from diverse backgrounds, and you've embraced the challenges that comes with communal living. This experience has not only prepared you for the task ahead, but has also installed in you a deep sense of unity that transcends ethnic, religious, or cultural boundaries that we have in our country. As you bid farewell from this orientation camp, and you proceed to your various primary assignments, you must recognize that the significance of this program is fostering national unity. The orientation camp has been a microscope representation of Lagos. And so let me formally, on behalf of the over 24 million Lagosians, welcome you all to Lagos. I want you to actively engage in your various local communities. I want you to go out there and challenge whatever it is you met there as a status quo. Address those challenges and contribute meaningfully to whatever discourse that you find yourself in. As you venture into various fields, I urge you to exemplify the lessons of discipline, perseverance, teamwork, and a unique sense of patriotism, which I believe are part of the things that I've imbibed, and you have all imbibed here in the last 3 weeks. As I leave here with a lot of butterflies in my stomach, and as your daddy and your father, I cannot just come here, watch the very outstanding parade that I've seen here this morning. Please, let's give them another round of applause. You truly, truly, really deserve a permanent site. And so this year alone, I'll be putting available a total of 5 billion that I'll be using to start the full development of the permanent site for NYSC. We will ensure that before the end of our administration, that permanent site will be available for the future coming NYSC core members.
The recent 90th birthday celebration dinner in honor of the Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka was characterized with electrifying spectacular dance and song presentations by groups and individuals to the admiration of prominent distinguished guests from all walks of life. Apart from the unveiling and presentation of an outstanding art portrait of Professor Wole Soyinka by the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the Lagos State Governor gave a profound, inspiring citation about the great works and achievements of the celebrant.
Lagos State, I extend a very warm felicitation to Professor Oluwole Akinwande Soyinka on his 90th birthday. A sense of justice, because without justice, Nigeria will flounder, unquote. Almost 3 decades later, these words still hold as true and valid, and we can all be sure that they will be true and valid even for another 3 centuries from now. Without justice, there's no sustainable human progress. His words are an eternal reminder to us all, leaders and citizens, young and old, in Nigeria and across Africa, that concerted efforts must go into building and entrenching systems and mechanisms that guarantees justice and equity for all, regardless of social or economic class, or ethnic background, or religious affiliation, gender, or age. In his celebrated writings, Professor Soyinka has helped put the Yoruba culture and tradition on the global map, making deep and insightful connections with our culture around the world. The Nobel Prize Committee said of his genius for bringing culture together, he has his roots in Yoruba people's myth, rites, and cultural patterns, which in their turn have historic links to the Mediterranean region. Through his education in his native land and in Europe, he has also acquired deep familiarity with Western culture. I'm sure we all know what that is. Professor Soyinka, in dozens of works across drama, poetry, fiction, memoir, and essay, has produced over the last 70 years. He has, and he will again turn to the Nobel Committee here, which fashioned the drama of excellence. Away from the page and from the stage, Professor Soyinka has raised, he has taught, he has mentored several generations of Nigerians and African scholars, intellectuals and writers, and I think this is one aspect of his life that deserves even greater acknowledgement.
The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, proudly launched officially the first branch of Nova Bank Limited in Lagos recently. In his welcome speech, the chairman of the bank, Phillips Otedola, was full of appreciation to the shareholders, customers, current and ex-staffers of the bank, as well as the Lagos State government for being a wonderful host.
I've had some of them. Actually, Mr. Vinod Grover is the chairman of Simba Group. Thank you. Not one day. And all the other customers, Gabriel, thank you so much. And we have, I guess I saw Mahmoud Tukro here, Etena. Thank you. And thank you all the customers. It is because of you that we are here today, because you uplifted us. It wasn't easy as a merchant bank. And if you know the constraints associated with merchant banking, but you supported us, and we are here today. We say a very big thank you. We also say very big thank you to our regulators, Central Bank of Nigeria, the new leadership, and they found it convenient and have been very comfortable with Nova, which is the reason why this is the first license they are granting. So we say a very big thank you to Central Bank. And the rep is supposed to be here. Again, I want to say a very big thank you to our shareholders who have made this to happen. Some of them are represented here today. And it's not easy to ask shareholders to bring out money as capital to move from merchant bank to commercial bank. But they did this. Last year, there was a rights issue which was fully subscribed by all the shareholders in raising the capital for this commercial bank, Nova Bank. And they have also committed, I want to thank you in advance, the shareholders. They have committed to put in the required capital for the new capital requirement for the National Commercial Bank. So, our shareholders, I want to say a very big thank you to you. Also, I want to thank, again, especially Lagos State Government, our chief hosts, for providing the enabling environment that has taken us to this level. And the Lagos State is actually represented by the number one citizen of the state. Again, I say a very big thank you to you and your cabinet, because without you, I don't know what we could have done, and so on. Now, Nova is one that has long-term goals of impacting the society. We are not here just to maximize profit, but we are here as Nova to have greatest impact in the society. And this is one of the reasons why we decided to extend to commercial banking business. We have been very, very successful, as testified by our customers, in the wholesale banking space. And we felt it is just necessary.
On his part, Mr. Governor congratulated the management of the bank for a progressive transformation to deliver quality service to customers.
I'm truly honored, to be here this afternoon. It's a simple, but it's a very important, engagement for me. It's not only, in the size or the number of attendees that are here, but it's in the quality and the outcomes of what this audience is. When you see, with all of the economic challenges that we have, not only in our country, globally, when you see all of the disruption in global challenges, when you see all of the uncertainty, all of the risk profiles that are bound, almost everywhere, but more importantly in our own economy, and you still see investors, shareholders that are committed in this environment, that still believes that there's a need for them not to take their money out, but to invest in their community, in their state, in their country. We need to commend them. We need to encourage them. We need to stay in touch with them, because they had a choice. They could have remained, as a nimble, wholesale bank, as a merchant bank, but they felt, like the chairman said, they need to take it further. And taking it further meaning that they need to dip their hand into their pocket and bring additional resources, that would equate them and that will make it possible for them, to be able to compete in a larger scale. So on behalf of the people and government of Lagos State, I'm doing my job by ensuring that I come here to come and encourage you, to come and thank you, to come and say to you that we're excited that we're continuing to create an enabling business environment where shareholders, stakeholders, customers see the need for them to grow their businesses.
And finally, from the governor's office, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu launch of the Ilera Eko Standard JARA Health Insurance Plan and the commissioning of 5 Ilera Eko virtual booths marked a significant milestone in a health insurance scheme of Lagos State under the Themes Plus agenda of Mr. Governor. While thanking the Lashmore team for advancing the universal health coverage goal, Mr. Governor highlighted the various opportunities and advantages embedded in the package to Lagosians. He equally urged the informal sector to take advantage of the health services.
It's a great pleasure to stand before you today for the official launch of the Ilera Eko Standard JARA Health Insurance Plan and the commissioning of 5 Ilera Eko virtual booths. Today marks a significant milestone in health insurance for Lagos State and Nigeria as Lashma unveils this new initiative. I therefore, on your behalf, want to congratulate the chairman of Lashma, Dr. Oyedepo, and the permanent secretary, general manager, Dr. Emmanuel Azamba, and of course the entire team of Lashma for their dedication to ensuring residents have access to affordable quality healthcare and advancing our goal under our universal health coverage. Sure, you remember that the focus of our administration, as outlined under our team's agendas plus, includes improving health outcomes. To this end, we have enrolled the public servants in the Ilera Eko scheme, with the government covering 75% of all their premiums. Starting in August 2024, all Lagos State pensioners will receive the free 1-year Ilera Eko coverage, which will ensure their access to health care even while in retirement. We're doing all this to further our universal health coverage goal. The initiative we are launching here today further confirms Lashma's long history of improving healthcare accessibility. One of them is the new Ilera-Eko Standard JARA Health Insurance Plan. And I want to commend Lashma because in the past 3-4 years, each time there's a new product or there's a new service or there's a new initiative, that have been opportune to come and support them with. And I think they deserve another round of applause. And so this new insurance plan offers additional benefits and peace of mind by reducing the financial burden on medical bills. In this plan, we have heavily subsidized the health insurance premium to ensure that everyone can access health care. I call on the informal sector, which constitutes over 70% of the population in the state, to seize this opportunity and enroll on the Ilera-Eko in order to reduce your out-of-pocket expenses and the huge payment of medical bill, which we all, know that is common around here. I invite the informal sector also to come on board and ensure that their employees are registered and are enrolled on our Ilera-Eko, as this will automatically reduce the expenses of the companies, especially for the payment of medical bills.
From the Governor's Office segment on the City of Lagos TV show on TV Nigeria surely attests to the fact that the business of governance in Lagos is serious business for Mr. Governor. The City of Lagos TV show will continue in a moment. We'll be right back. The love for Lagos is love for progress and justice. Believe in Lagos. See you next week.